Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be ranking the novels of George Eliot because it's Victober, of course, and Eliot is just genuinely one of my favorite authors ever. And so I've got, oh my god, how many books do I have here? I do have a couple cheats because I'm going to put in some of her novellas too and some of her short story collections. So I'm having her main novels here. I'm also gonna chuck in for fun Silas Marner and Scenes of a Clerical Life. I'm not going to include Brother Jacob or The Lifted Veil, but check them out too because they're really lovely. And check out her essays are iconic and beautiful, and her poetry is very lovely too. But I'm gonna stick to the main stuff that she's most famous for. And let's begin because this is gonna be a very controversial list. I am an Eliot defender. I even her most driest, boring novels, I love to death. And this is exciting because I never get to talk about some of these novels, but let's start. So, number 8, dead last, is Silas Marner. I've never liked Silas Marner. I've read it twice ish, and it just, for me, it's completely forgettable. Silas, he's a social recluse after he was like caught stealing, not caught stealing, but he was accused of it, and he lives on like the outskirts of society, and like it's more of like a fairy tale, like not technically a fairy tale, but has some of those elements, and he redeems himself because he has like a gets involved helping this young girl, and it's just not my favorite Eliot. I don't know why it's kind of really um push like up there with people consider it Eliot's best. It's just done nothing for me. It's kind of like a Great Expectations. Like I read it and I'm just like whatever. It does nothing for me. So we have that at dead last. Number 7, we have Scenes of a Clerical Life, and the reason it's not last is because I love the short story Janet's Repentance, and this is about a wife who's her and her husband are both crippling alcoholics. He's abusive to her and kicks her out the house, and she falls. She has a really deep relationship with one of her neighbors, and he helps her guide her through this situation with her husband, and like talks about forgiveness and compassion as she learns to cope with her situation and comes back to her husband. And it's a very sad story. A lot of people die in it. And the other two short stories, because Saints Clerical Life is only like 3 short stories, and the other two are forgettable for me. But I love Janet's Repentance, so that's a bit of a hot take, but it is a bit better than Silas Marner because of that. And now we get to the novels. So my least favorite Eliot novel is Adam Bede. Now the first half of Adam Bede for me is forgettable. I don't care about it at all. But as soon as we get to the trial, I'm weeping. I'm crying. But what the lady has been accused with for me is just it's a lot, and what happens to her is sad, and it's just a very sad book. And honestly, Adam Bede is like literally the least interesting character in this book for me, and I feel like what makes Adam Bede dragged down so far on the list is because of the first half, but I love the second half, and so I'm defending Adam Bede a bit. But anyway, number 5. So after this, every book um, I genuinely really love. And number 5 is The Mill on the Floss. Now, The Mill on the Floss follows a brother and sister, and their family, or their dad in particular, owns a mill, and because of some decisions, they go bankrupt and the mill is sold, and the rest of the novel follows the brother and sister Tom and Maggie as they pretty much deal with the consequences of this. Tom is very solution focused, so he starts doing this thing to help save the family, while Maggie is more of a compassionate person and she turns to religion in that sense. And what's her name? Maggie also has a relationship with Philip Wakeman. Wakeman's Philip's dad was one of the reasons, was a big catalyst in why the family had their downward spiral. And so there's conflict between Maggie and her brother because Tom doesn't like Philip, and it's a bit of a triangle in that sense. Not a love triangle, but and it's pretty much of them just trying to process what happened to the mill. And for me, why it's a bit down, a bit low, is that Maggie is so talked down to in this book. She really is just pushed to the ground, literally. And I feel like everyone makes fun of her, everyone puts her down, and it's so hard to read at certain times. And I feel like the ending of A Mill on the Floss 2 is really out of nowhere. Pretty much, there's a flood, and that's all I'm gonna say. But it's really out of nowhere, and it is a really abrupt ending to the Mill on the Floss, and that's why it's a bit lower because I feel like it's compared to the other books we're going to talk about, it's just not as strong, and so Mill on the Floss is number five. Then number four, this is now four and up, are some of my all-time favorite Victorian novels. I love these novels to death, and they are a bit dense, but I don't care. Number four, sorry, we have Felix Holt, the Radical. Now, this is George Eliot doing a political book. This is about, I've got my notes here, the 1832 Reformed Act in England or Wales or whatever. And as an Australian, I have absolutely no clue about that. All I know is it's more to do with like electrics, or I can't say that word, and the impact that has. And then you have the a rich landowner named Harold Transome. He runs as like a local politician. He's conservative, but then you have Felix Holt, who's young and he's radical, and he's like working class, and he tries to change the system. But then you have one of my favorite Eliot characters, Esther Lyon, who's in the middle of all of this, and she's oh my god, what am I gonna say? She's the heiress to the estate of Harold's, but she doesn't know that. But also she has a relationship with Felix Holt, so she's kind of in this awful situation of having to pick. But most of the book is genuinely political stuff. Like, I like the plot a good bit, but when Eliot, I just love how dry Eliot's writing is. I love her writing, and I know it's not for everyone because it's very dense and can be very boring, but I don't care. I love Eliot's writing. I love what she has to say about politics. I just adore it, and it could have been longer, and I would have said thank you pretty much. And so I love the plot of Felix Holt. It's just I feel like a really underrated book, but you know, I get why people don't like it. It is a bit tough to swallow. But it's speaking of controversial books. Number three is Romola. This is Eliot. This was her favorite book. This is Eliot doing historical fiction set in Florence, Italy during the 1490s and involves church politics. And it's dense as anything. It is one of those books that for me truly feels like academic. Like, it's like I didn't feel like I got it on my first read. I feel like it was so much, and I get why people don't like it, but it involves church politics, and Romola herself is just, I think, an incredible character. The morals she goes through, just the way Eliot writes her is very lovely, and it's pretty much the novel's propelled because of certain people do certain genuinely nasty, selfish things, and the novel is propelled through the ripple effects of these actions that these people make, and that really pushes forward the story. But also at the end, there's a bit of like hope for everyone. So it's kind of which is weird for Eliot because she's not really known for that. But I get how people don't like Romola. It is a slog at a lot of times, and it is, I think, Eliot's hardest novel to really grasp because it is very dense, and I feel like I need like a bachelor's degree to understand it. But I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I'm a Romola defender. I get how people say this is their favorite Eliot book. It was Eliot's favorite book herself. But anyway, number three is Romola. Number two is Daniel Deronda. This follows two characters, Daniel and Gwendolyn, and the book also talks about a lot of interesting stuff about Judaism in the Victorian era, which I thought was really interesting because of Eliot's religious background too. But the plot revolves around gambling and just these people really trying to find their place in this world. Like very Eliot in that sense, a lot of morals, and it's iconic. It's got, I think, some of our most divisive characters. Gwendolyn is lovely, not really lovely in the action she does, but I feel like as a character she stands on her own so much compared to a lot of other Eliot characters that like lower on the list that kind of just go with the flow. But Gwendolyn and Daniel very much stand up for themselves. I love the way they grow up in this world too. I think Eliot done a great job with the pacing. The writing is iconic, and I love the gambling. It's very fun. And number one is obviously Middlemarch. Now, I could have swapped, if I'm being honest. This top four could change any day. I put Middlemarch at number one because it's I feel like it's Eliot's magnum opus. It's one of the great slice of life books. It's like literally probably my second favorite novel ever behind Moby Dick, but that could swap any day. Just watching these characters grow up, and you're very much a fly on the wall, and just watching these people have their dreams, no matter their age, just shattered and they're kicked to the ground by life, and it's just so um, interesting to watch. And again, it's just incredible. Middlemarch. It's one of the great Victorian novels and one of the great English novels. It's long. The plot is very slow. It takes a long, long time to kick in. But Middlemarch is just it's that girl, and I love it so much. I first read it when I was 16, and I was addicted to it. It took over my life, and then I reread it probably 2 years ago, maybe, or last year. I can't remember. And I am very much due for a reread, but I am due to reread all of Eliot's books. And so I'm very much interested because I've done this list. I'm like, I need to go back to some of these Eliot's books, especially like Felix, Holt, or Romola, because it has been a long, long time. But that is my tribute to George Eliot. Again, I'll read you the list again. Number 8, we got Silas Marner. Number 7 is Scenes from the Clerical Life. Number 6 is Adam Bede. Number 5 is Mill and the Floss. Number 4 is Felix Holt. Number 3 is Romola. Number 2 is Daniel Deronda. And number 1 is Middlemarch. And that could change. But yeah, that is my ranking of the great George Eliot's novels. Let me know what you think about my ranking. And did I have any surprises? Any ones that you're like, you're so wrong, or Andrew, you're so right? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.